Welcome to the Talk with Clads podcast. Your host is Katie Ann, an island girl on a journey with her guests to learn about their backgrounds, businesses, passions, experiences, life lessons, and wins. Come and laugh, cheer, learn, and plan with us. My friend, take some time to come and talk with Clads.
Hello, world. My name is Katie Ann, and I'll be your host for today. We have a special guest in the house. We have Rodney, and Rodney's background, he has multiple years of debt consolidation. And so we are going to focus on debt consolidation. And we also have Mr. Lyrics who will be joining in on the podcast. So Rodney, welcome.
Thank you. I'm happy to be here. Happy to share some information with the people. How's everybody doing tonight?
So for purposes of this conversation, I'm just going to expand on what credit is for a younger audience. So credit is when you receive money, goods, or a service, and you agree to pay it in the future. So you're not paying for it now. You're saying, hey, can I get this using my credit, and I'll pay you in the future. And most times people charge an interest when you use your credit. So use responsible. It can be used as a tool and be a really good thing if it's used responsibly. If not, then, you can really get in trouble with that. So I'm going to ask Rodney, what is considered a good credit score? If you want to start by expanding on what is a credit score.
Definitely. So a credit score is basically a financial rating that is, distributed amongst consumers to determine how financially responsible companies or banks or whoever it may be, lenders, determine you are. And they kind of use that to rate not only how much they can give you, but at what interest rate. So the higher your credit score, basically the more responsible they see you, and they are willing to give you more money at a lower rate. And the lower your credit score, the more financially irresponsible you are, represented by that number. And this would either cause you to not receive any type of credit, or if you do, you'll receive a lower amount at a higher interest rate because they're not confident that they would get payment from you. So that's basically the give and take of credit, to kind of sum it up as easy as possible.
So what's considered a good credit score?
That's a great question. So it really just determines, it's really just based off of what you are looking to kind of establish and utilize your credit for, right? So I always recommend you try to get your credit score to at least 750. This is going to put you slightly above average. In the past, having a credit score of over 700 would have put you in a position to potentially, be approved for anything. In today's economy, it's more like 750, and then once you get into the 800s, that's when you're considered amongst the excellent credit scores or the most financially responsible. So I always tell everyone, strive to have at least a 750 credit score, so you never have to worry about sweating when applying for any type of credit, because chances are you won't be denied.
Okay. And what is considered a bad credit score?
So in terms, I'm going to just give you the reciprocal in terms of the answer I just gave you. So anything below a 750, again, depending exactly on what type of credit you're applying for. But to kind of give you a general answer, in my opinion, anything below a 750 is going to put you in a realm of, again, depending on what you're applying for, there is a potential that you might get either a higher interest rate or even denied for whatever type of credit you're looking for. 750 should be everyone's target score. Again, I'm not saying that that's the best credit score, but that should put you at ease to know that I can walk into any department store, any dealership, any bank, and be confident that I can apply for whatever it may be, whether it be a loan, credit line, and be approved at a 750. Now, beyond that, there's other factors that determine what your approval looks like in terms of interest rate and amount. But at a 750, you should be confident that you should at least be approved for whatever it is you're applying for.
So I mentioned bad, good. What's considered fair?
So fair, and again, I feel like I wouldn't say media, but today, we try to portray different segments of credit, but it's only because they want everyone to utilize it. In my eyes, there is no bad, fair, good. It's either you have above a 750 and you're confident. You have anything below a 750, you need to work on it.
Okay. So if you're a younger person, right, like a young college student, and obviously they wouldn't start at 750. So how do they build their credit?
It's a great question. So there's different things they can do. The easiest thing that a lot of people don't know, and it's extremely easy, is if you know anyone, whether it be your mother, father, aunt, uncle, sibling, even a close friend, someone that obviously you trust and they trust you, the easiest way and quickest way to establish credit is to just have them add you on to their credit line. So luckily, as an adolescent, I wasn't even aware, but my mom put me on her credit cards. And by the time I was 18, I already had an established credit score of, I believe, 680, because simply by being on her credit card, I basically inherited her credit history.
Okay.
So she had good credit history. The credit card that she applied me on, I basically, there's different determining factors when it comes to your credit, like how old your credit is, how much credit you have, how often you pay it, how well you pay it. But once someone adds you onto their credit card, you automatically inherit that history. So by my mom placing me on that one card, I automatically was looked at as if I had a credit card for years that was paid on time all the time, and it put me in a good position to, I guess, go out and apply for additional credit cards. So that's the easiest way. If you don't have, that option, your best thing would be, believe it or not, to open up a secure credit line, which basically means you're applying for a credit card, but you have to give some money up front. So, for example, let's say I get a secure credit card with a $500 limit, but I have to put $250 down, which basically means you're giving them $250, and it's basically your money, but you're utilizing it like credit. It shows that you are establishing credit and you're utilizing it correctly, because you're kind of only using your money, and then as you're paying it back, it builds, I guess, your financial responsibility, for lack of a better term. So, exactly. So that shows, with a secure line of credit, it gives you an established credit history, and then you just build on that. Opening up multiple lines of credit also helps you build your credit. And then one thing they don't tell us is having different lines of credit. So it's not just credit cards. I was able to take my credit score over the top once I was able to implement home loan, car loan, personal loan, as long as credit card. Having diversified types of credit and being responsible on all of them is a great way to impress, lenders and consumers and build your credit score as well.
All right. So fact or fiction? Sometimes we're told that we should get a credit card. We should use that credit card to build our credit. Never pay off the balance entirely and only use 30% of that card. Is this fact or fiction?
Mostly fact, but it depends on how much credit you have. So you never want to completely pay your credit cards off. Again, credit is showing that you're financially responsible. If you have a lot of credit and you're not utilizing it, you're not showing anyone that you're financially responsible because you're not utilizing it. So you always want to maintain, I always say 10 to 20% of your credit card. So if you have a credit card with $1,000 limit, you want to maintain a balance of $100 to $200. You don't want to completely pay it off. I wouldn't say 30% because, again, another thing that they look at is the amount of credit you have. So let's say you only have a total credit limit of $5,000. If you're using 30%, your credit limit is lower. So 30% is that weighs on you heavier than if I had, let's say, $50,000 line of credit. You know what I'm saying? So I would always recommend staying between 10 and 20%, but it is fact. You never want to completely pay off your cards because you're not showing any type of responsibility.
So what about closing off an account? does it make sense? Because sometimes people are like, oh, I'll pay off my credit card and then I'll close out the account. Does it make any sense to close out a credit card?
So that it depends on how long you had that account. So my longest credit card is my Best Buy credit card. I had it since, actually, I'm not plugging nobody in. Bleep that out, all right, when you edit this. But my longest credit card, I had it since college. I very rarely use it, but I won't close it out because another factor that determines your credit score is how long you've had credit. So I'm older. I'm not going to say my age, but you know what I'm saying? I've had that credit card since college. If I close that specific credit card out, I lose all those years of credit, and that damages your credit score. So the longer you show that you've had established credit, the more it benefits your credit score. If you close out a credit card that you've had for a long time, you lose all those years that you had, and then basically the average becomes lower, or however they determine it. So it depends. If it's a credit card that you just open, like I always tell people, especially if you're establishing your credit, if you had a credit card for a year or two and it was a credit card with a horrible interest rate, you're charged annual fees, you could close that out because it's not going to hurt you. You only had it for a year or two anyway. You use those cards to establish your credit, and it's only because you have no other alternative. That's the only thing that's offered to you. But if you have a credit card that you have for 10, 15, 20 years, even if you're not utilizing it, you don't want to close it because you're going to lose that 10, 15, 20 years of credit history.
Okay. So does some cards, like you have your store credit cards, you have, as you mentioned, personal loans, what is like the weight? Does one weigh more than the other? Like a house loan would be better on my credit than a regular store credit card or bank credit card?
So I don't know if there's a real answer for that. I'm not gonna lie. First of all, there's different credit ratings. So 3 different credit bureaus. There's different. What word am I looking for? FICO scores. Like there's so many different determining factors of what your credit score can be. We all have multiple credit scores, but because there's different, I guess, ratings or companies that can deliver a credit score, they're weighed differently depending on who it is, right? So some people might look at a mortgage and weigh it a lot more than a normal credit card, and some people might look at a personal loan and weigh it a lot more than a car loan. So it just really depends on who is the one that's giving you that rating.
Okay. All right.
Clad's Resources and Consulting values its customers. Our planner Footsteps to My Vision is a 13-month planner that can be used for 5 years. It walks you through SMART goals, SWOT analysis, action planning, and holds you accountable through 3 monthly check-ins. We work only with top-quality materials, innovative designs, and verified suppliers, which are guaranteed to deliver to our high expectations, because when it comes to our customer satisfaction, there's no room for compromise. Made with high-quality PU leather and paper planner helps you focus on achieving your goals by giving you a sense of personal and professional satisfaction. Some of the amazing features of this product: Vision Board Planner, luxury pen, 8GB USB flash drive, wireless mouse, ultra elegant packaging box, available in 5 stunning colors: black, red, gold, pink, navy blue. Material: PU leather. 13-month planner. Elastic band for easy handling. Our Footsteps to My Vision is available at Amazon, Facebook, Instagram, our website, and at Walmart. You may also follow us at www.cladsresources.com, Instagram, Clads Resources, Facebook, www.facebook.com/cladsresources/.
You're listening to Talk with Clads. Find more resources online at cladsresources.com. Now back to the show with your host, Katie Ann.
I'll use my daughter, who is now going, she's now in university. She has no credit, so now she's in the line of building her credit. Would you recommend her go to like a Capital One versus an American Express?
Well, most major universities during what is it called? Intramural, or freshman week, whatever it's called. That introductory period when freshmen come in. Banks usually pay the schools to allow them to set up a table.
To get into debt?
Of course.
Get them early.
Get 'em early.
I remember when I was in school, when we got there a week before everyone else, you walked into the cafeteria, the first thing you saw were 3 different tables of people asking you to sign up for credit cards. It's big business. These credit companies are going to get paid regardless, whether you get a credit card and you pay them back with interest, or whether you get a credit card and then you don't pay them back and they get it from insurance. It's a business that they're going to benefit from. So
Okay.
So with her, I would say I would recommend just going through whoever's at her school. Another thing that you'll normally find around universities are local banks who work with the universities. So you can just go to the local bank, say, hey, I go to University XYZ, and I'm sure they'll have a plan for you already. So
I'll get you hooked early.
oh no, that's the name of the game, bro. It's either I'm gonna give you the tool and you can maximize it, or I'm gonna give you the tool and I'm gonna maximize profits from it.
Yeah.
In most cases, it's the latter, unfortunately.
So, I have a question. So if you are, let's say you have excellent credit or good credit, because you said good credit for 750, does credit, does it make a difference to be at the 800s, or, because you can still get what you need at 750? So do you cap out? And that's coming from someone with over an 800 credit score. So I got that question sent in.
So the higher your credit score, the better, always. Why? Even though if I have a 780 and you have an 840, yes, we will probably both be approved for the loan. The difference is let's say a 750. At a 750, I'll get approved for a loan at maybe a 3-4% interest rate. At an 840, you can get approved for a loan at a 0.2 or 0.9 or 0.5 interest rate. So it's not just being approved; it's what you're approved at, and also what you're offered, right? So again, if I have a good credit score, I can get approved for a loan at like 3 or 4 years at a lower interest rate, where you can get approved for that same loan at 2 years at a lower interest rate. So over time, my loan is going to cost a lot more than yours because it takes me longer to pay it off, and because you had a better credit score, you were able to get a better bargain or a better deal.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So going over now to, unfortunately, a lot of people are in a situation just based on life circumstances that they now have credit repair. And that business seems to be booming. A lot of times when you hear commercials, they're talking about debt consolidation, or they're giving you loans for debt consolidation. And sometimes to me, it seems like it targets a specific community more than the other. Bless you. So, what are your thoughts on that?
So I used to work for one of those companies, and number one, how do I sugarcoat this? It's bullshit. So they attract you with the term credit loan or credit refinance loan, where they know that the average consumer normally does not qualify for those type of loans. So obviously there's different types of credit. When it comes to those type of loans, there's more liability attached to it, so the credentials to qualify for it is much higher. So they try to entice you to apply for these things, knowing that you won't be approved for it, so they can offer you other products. But at the end of the day, they benefit from them all.
Yeah. So what is credit repair?
So credit repair is simply different options depending on what you qualify for to put you in a position to either reestablish your credit, rebuild your credit, establish your credit. There's things like refinancing. There's things like settling. It just, again, really depends on what your situation is. But it's all geared towards helping you get to a good or better credit score.
Okay. So is the 7-year rule accurate when they say things drop off your credit in 7 years, or can lenders still see the whatever is considered bad payback, or I don't know what the term is.
So I learned when I started working in this industry that a lot of that is bullshit. So there's no one, there's no one real rule for everything,
What?
right? So there's certain debt that will fall off, right? And then there's certain debt that won't.
In that 7-year period?
Yeah. So your school loans are never falling off.
Oh, no.
They're going to be there forever. You think you're going to have school loans? Like, oh, it's been 10 years. Oh, I don't care, brother. I'm coming to get my money. So
Well,
that,
hopefully
it doesn't
we get
apply to
that
those.
mandate
And then
passed.
another thing is the 7-year rule. Yes, okay, it does apply in most cases, but
For comments like cell phone bills.
yeah, but check it out. All that cell phone bill needs to do is, let's say I'm T-Mobile. You owe me $800. I've been trying to get in contact with you. I can't get in contact with you. Then I sell it to T-Mobile B, which is a settlement company, or what do they call debt collector.
Yeah.
But the debt collector is really just a subsidiary, like a sub company of T-Mobile. And once they contact you, hey, is this manual or lyrics? And you're like, yes, that time resets.
So that is true.
So,
that's
if I call you and say, hey, is this lyrics? You're like, yeah. Oh, do you live at XYZ? Yes. Okay, your clock just reset.
So that resets the 7 years, even if you're at
6 years, 364 days.
wow.
364, 351.
I don't know.
It's going to get you.
Wow, I did not know that.
That's a fun fact. That was.
I don't know if that's a fun fact, but that's a fact, right?
Man.
Ain't nothing fun about it.
Yeah, right. So how can bad credit be corrected or deleted, or can that even happen?
It can. So it really just depends on how bad your credit is, and how quickly you want to do it, right? So some people can reestablish their credit in years. Some people can reestablish their credit in months. If you're really dedicated and you have the ability to do so, you can establish your credit in a few weeks. All you really need to do is, most companies report to the credit bureaus every 30 days. So technically, if you can pay things off, make sure things are in good standing within 30 days, you can potentially rehabilitate your credit. Like I know I dedicated building my credit score the past 2 months or so, and believe it or not, I don't know why this happened, but my credit score dropped dramatically and then shot up.
No.
So I started paying my credit cards, I stopped using them, made sure I was in that 10 to 15% realm, paid off my loans, and then it dropped.
Right.
And then 3 weeks later it shot up. So it dropped 20 points, 25 points. And I was like, why is it dropping and I'm decreasing all my debt? And then the next week it went up 60, 80 points. I was like, oh, okay, I guess.
So maybe it could be the reporting time frame.
Exactly.
Right. So what do you do if a lender makes an error on your credit? How do you correct that? Because I know they're quick to report if you are any type of derogatory remarks, but if they're on the end where they are making the error, how do you follow up on that part?
Well, so a lot of these companies that charge you hundreds, even thousands of dollars to rehabilitate your credit, what a lot of them do they're just looking for mistakes. So the average consumer doesn't realize the easiest way to clean up your credit is just checking for mistakes. So if you owe a company a couple $1,000s and they misspell your name or put in your social wrong, you can literally file a dispute and get it removed off your credit report.
Even if that belongs to you?
Yes.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, it's kind of like, think about if you get a parking ticket, right? You get a parking ticket and the cop puts in the wrong license plate number, even though you did the wrong thing because the information was reported incorrectly, you don't have to pay it. It's the same thing with credit cards. So there's certain pieces of information that if they just put it in wrong, I remember I had a friend who had a credit card that they owed let's say $800 on years and years ago. Didn't even remember it. And they went on their credit report, realized that the company had their birthday a day after their birthday actually was. They filed a dispute. The credit bureau looked into it, saw that the birthday was wrong, and it didn't matter about the debt anymore because now the information is wrong. That's not my friend. That's not his birthday, so that's not him. That's not his dad.
Okay, so
it's
they were
really that
saying that it was just the wrong person.
Wrong. Wow.
Okay.
It's good information.
That's
And
really
it's
good.
crazy because, again, these companies that offer credit repair will charge you thousands of dollars, and that's the first thing they do.
Yeah.
They just look for any mistakes that you can do on your
Stuff you
own.
can do yourself.
Yeah, so that was actually my next question. Is credit repair expensive? But I think you just answered that credit repair can be expensive. Is credit repair illegal?
Not at all.
No.
Not at all. It's the most legal thing in the world, and unfortunately, like most things that are good for the consumers and not good for the business, is portrayed as a bad thing, right? So these companies want to make money, as much money as possible off of you. So they're not going to tell you, hey, go look on your credit report, and if there's a mistake, call us and let us know so we can delete your debt. They're not going to tell you that. But it's that easy, you know what I'm saying? It's also as easy as when I was looking to buy my home, I had 2 late car payments from years ago, like 4 years ago, that was still on my credit, and it was hurting my credit score.
Wow.
I called my bank, and I said, hey, I'm trying to buy a house. Can you remove my late payments? And they said, sure.
Just like that.
Just like that. It was a phone call. It took 5 minutes. Some people, unfortunately, are paying a company $1,000 to do the same thing.
Oh wow. Wow. So dropping that gem. So what
Great information.
What kind of information can be removed from what is considered, or what kind of derogatory information can be removed from your credit if you're trying to fix your credit?
So the first thing I would recommend to anyone is print out your credit report and go through it. Just look at it. You know what I'm saying? Go through your credit report. Make sure all the information is correct. Every credit card, every loan, every debt. Make sure your name is spelled right. Make sure your date of birth is correct. You know what I'm saying? Make sure that actual debt belongs to you. You know, you'll be surprised how many times there's debt that's reported on your credit report that probably doesn't even belong to you, and it's hurting you. So that's the first thing I would recommend to anyone. Go through it through yourself. And then I'm not going to say everyone is going to find a mistake, and it's that easy, but if you go through it and you don't see any mistakes, then you have to determine what do I need to enforce. You know what I'm saying?
Start.
That's your initiation point, and then after that, if you don't find any mistakes, you decide, okay, what's the most detrimental thing here? What can I start clearing up? If it's debts that's, not past due, what is it called? In collections, call those companies. If it's already in collections, chances are that company already wrote it off. So now you don't have to pay the full amount. So if I owe a company $1,000 and it's now in collections,
Time
that
to
company already
negotiate.
wrote it off of their books. So now you call them up and say, hey, I only got, in most cases, success is 50%.
Right.
So I only got 500.
But then how is that reported on the credit? Does that
So
show?
it just removes the collection debt. So if you pay it off, it's going to say that your debt was paid off.
Oh, so the original loan will reflect that it's paid off?
Yeah, it's going to say either settled or paid off. But what it does is it just removes that collection from your account, and your score goes up. So the difference between me paying again, these are not real numbers because it varies, but let's just say if I have a debt in collection for $1,000 and I pay it off at $1,000, my credit score can go up 18 points. If I have if I have a debt for $1,000 in collection and I pay it off at 500, my credit score can go up 15 points.
Okay.
I don't care
Wow.
about that 3 points personally.
Yeah.
I'm saving $500.
So does it show the history that you had the debt and now it's paid off, or does it just show it as paid off?
So I always tell people your credit report is basically a printout of your credit history. Anything that was on your credit history is always going to be on your credit report. But yes, once you pay it off, it's going to show as paid off. So either you pay it at $1,000 and it says paid off in full, and you get a little bit more points, or you owe $1,000 and it says debt settled, or paid less than owed amount. You still have it removed off your credit in terms of it being a detractor,
Okay.
and your credit still goes up. So
Okay.
It's a win-win.
It's a win. So who typically has access to someone's credit report?
everyone
Everyone.
has access to
Well,
the
a
credit
random
report.
stranger can't access your credit.
Oh
Can
no,
it?
not someone else's.
Yeah.
Everyone can access their own credit report. Who has access to my credit report, you mean? So
Right.
lenders. So people don't realize that there's different types of inquiries, right? Inquiries are made on your credit every day. Every time you get a letter of pre-approved and, sign up for this credit card, that company pulled your credit.
Right.
They did a soft inquiry so it doesn't hurt your score, just to determine if you even fall into the realms of their qualification, so they can send you an offer.
Right.
Then you have companies where, like, let's say I'm going to buy a car loan, or I'm trying to buy a house, or I actually applied for a specific credit card. Those are hard inquiries.
Oh.
Hard inquiries affect your credit, actually causes your credit score to go down, and they stay on your report for a certain amount of time before they kind of dissipate, and your credit score either regulates or goes up. So it just depends.
Oh. So dissipate. I need to add that to my vocabulary. Listen, your girl is out here learning these big words. But anyways, so how, like, is there a certain number of hard inquiries that
Man, you want to stay away from hard inquiries. So again, your credit, the best way to look at it is it's a determining factor of how financially responsible you are. If someone is looking at your credit report and they see that you have a bunch of hard inquiries, they're going to say, why is this person looking for credit so much? So you're going to be viewed as a higher risk or not financially responsible. So the more hard inquiries you have, the worse it looks.
Oh, that you're trying to.
Yeah, why are you looking for money so bad? Like, what's going on with you, brother?
Yeah, right. I see that. So once I remove some things, so just going back, because I want to understand, like, the deleting of the credit, and for anyone that's trying to do this credit repair thing, once I delete something, can it come back?
So, and this is the misconception. Again, when it comes to your credit report, there is no deleting. All of your debt history will be there. All you're doing is settling that debt or paying off that debt. So, we'll go back to the example. If I owed someone $1,000, that $1,000 debt is going to be on my credit report. When I pay it off, the fact that I owed them will always be on my credit report, but it will just say that I no longer owe them. So my debt to credit would now be lowered, which is a direct determining factor to your credit score. So the actual debt will always be there in terms of me owing that company in the past, but when you pay it off, your actual debt is now decreased, which should have a positive impact on your credit score.
Okay, so that ratio.
Exactly.
So it's always trying to balance that ratio.
Exactly.
So, another myth, and I would like to ask you, is that sometimes you hear that, if you go, the medical debt does not weigh that much on your credit report or your medical bills. So is this something that is accurate?
Again, we all want to generalize things, but it's not that easy. So there's some medical debt that, depending on, who you owe and, how significant they see it, it probably won't hurt you. But then there's other medical debt that, depending on who you owe and how significant they see it, they're going to come after you, as hard as possible, and it can really hurt you. So it's not like medical debt. No, it's not. It's who you owe and how much you owe them. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
If I owe urgent care, the local urgent care, a couple $100, they probably don't see it, beneficial enough to invest in trying to get that couple $100 from me.
Yeah.
But if I owe, the university hospital, who has a whole department dedicated to making sure they get as much as possible.
After you.
They coming after you.
They coming after you.
They're gonna come after you. So
They
it's
have
not,
bonuses and incentives tied to that.
So it's not medical debt. It's not. We can't. When it comes to credit, you can't really generalize things. It depends on who you owe, how much you owe them, and what capabilities they have.
And sometimes you hear horror stories too, because one of the things that you said earlier was knowing what's on your credit and getting, because we all have access to or credit report, right? We always have access to our credit report.
CLAD's resources and consulting values its customers. Our planner Footsteps to My Vision is a 13-month planner that can be used for 5 years. It walks you through SMART goals, SWOT analysis, action planning, and holds you accountable through 3 monthly check-ins. We work only with top quality materials, innovative designs, and verified suppliers, which are guaranteed to deliver to our high expectations, because when it comes to our customer satisfaction, there's no room for compromise. Made with high quality PU leather and paper planner helps you focus on achieving your goals by giving you a sense of personal and professional satisfaction. Some of the amazing features of this product: Vision board planner, luxury pen, 8GB USB flash drive, wireless mouse, ultra elegant packaging box. Available in 5 stunning colors: black, red, gold, pink, navy blue. Material: PU leather. 13-month planner. Elastic band for easy handling. Our Footsteps to My Vision is available at Amazon, Facebook, Instagram, our website, and at Walmart. You may also follow us at www.cladsresources.com, Instagram, Clads Resources, Facebook, www.facebook.com/cladsresources/.
You're listening to Talk with Clads. Find more resources online at cladsresources.com. Now back to the show with your host, Katie Ann.
It is really important to know what is on your credit score. So I know every year you have access to getting that annual report. And one of the main thing is because of identity theft. And I've had where I found out about my daughter, where we went to go and file taxes, and that's how I found out that someone actually stole her identity. So how does identity theft affect your credit?
So depending on what type of identity theft, you just got to think about it. It's as simple as someone, getting something in your name. So now it's on your credit report and you owe it. Obviously, you have nothing to do with it, but it affects you based off of what they actually, get or utilize. But with identity theft, again, there's different factors that go into it. Sometimes it could be as simple as just disputing it. Like if I'm, Rodney, and I lived in New York City all my life, and then all of a sudden I have a line of credit in North Dakota, I can file a dispute for it, and usually it's not going to be, any type of significant questioning. They'll just get rid of it. But obviously there's other factors where if I'm Rodney in New York City and someone steals my identity in New York City and they're utilizing it, it's probably just not as simple as filing a dispute. So you just got to go through whatever the proper channels. You'll file the dispute. They'll let you know what you got to do to prove that it wasn't you. But that's really where companies are, in my opinion, more beneficial, because if you have the time to deal with it, then you can, and you can definitely save a lot of money. But if you're not, then you could pay a company a couple $100 and they'll go into it and prove that it wasn't you. Do things like retract receipts or get cameras or whatever it is to prove that it wasn't you.
Yeah.
But that's really, when it comes to identity theft, it's just simply that someone basically, I took Lyric's name and I purchased things, and I'm the one making the purchase, but it's all being put on
as
his credit, history. So it's obviously detrimental to him. Because he's not the one doing it, but yes, it is going to affect his credit score and debt and everything like that.
Until he's able to clarify.
Until he's able to clear it up.
Okay. And to the listeners, there are actually laws that apply to your credit. So we have the Credit Repair Organization Act, and many times I hear the Fair Credit Reporting Act, that are the laws that are utilized the most. So there are laws in place, but it's also important for you to consistently check your credit. Would you advise anyone on getting those credit, the credit monitoring programs?
Oh, definitely. I have it. I have it with multiple companies. Like I said, there's different credit bureaus, different FICO scores and all this stuff. So I get as much as I can, as long as it's free, or I think even a few of mine I pay a couple dollars. Because again, information is power, especially for someone like me where I spend a lot of time and money rebuilding and getting my credit to where it is. So it's important to me, and I want to make sure I'm able to maintain it. It's extremely hard to get your credit at that elite level. Mm-hmm. But it's extremely easy to make it drop quick. You know what I'm saying? So I want to be on top of it. I recommend everyone stay on top of it, because you don't want to do all this work and then the dumbest thing can cause you to fall right back down.
Yeah, and one of the things that we experienced when we were purchasing our house was that you couldn't buy anything because you didn't want the credit to move. You
didn't want it to affect your credit.
Right, but once we purchased it, it went down significantly, and then it went up. So I fully understood what you said when you said that it went down, it shot down, and then it went back up. What are some tips that you would want to share with someone who may be wanting to build the credit or establish credit?
I would just say credit is wealth, right? So I'll take a great credit score before, a lump sum of money any day, because in the long run, things will cost you less. Also, when it comes to utilizing credit, credit, you got to remember that's not your money. So I never recommend people use lines of credit for everyday expenses. Like, they're literally supposed to be for emergencies, or you can use them for benefits. Like, I have cashback cards that I use for like my phone bill and stuff like that. Things that I know I'm going to pay off at the end of the month, but I'm utilizing my credit cards because I want to get the rewards that's offered, and also I want to show that I'm financially responsible.
Smart ways.
So don't use your credit cards as a security blanket, like, I'm going to get paid next week, so I'm just going to use my credit card, because something is always going to come up. Something always comes up, and that's how you fall into debt. It should simply be there for expenses that you can cover, and strictly emergencies. That would be my recommendation.
That would be your recommendation.
Great information.
Yeah, I think that's great information. Live by your means.
Exactly.
I had this young older lady that I used to take care of back in the days, and I remember her saying that every time she wouldn't spend what she couldn't afford. So she had excellent credit. Was she would purchase whatever she like whatever she needed, her gas or whatever, she put out on credit card, but when she got paid, she actually did the opposite, where she paid off everything. But she was from a generation where they went through the Depression and so forth. So she was very
I will say this though, not to cut you off. There are certain credit cards, like, I'm not going to say their name because I'm not getting no checks from them. But there's certain credit cards that are established that way, right?
Yeah.
So they allow you to utilize it, and you won't be charged any interest as long as you can pay it off. And your credit is positively impacted by that, because consumers know that's the way that credit card works.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
again, you can't really generalize anything.
Right.
For the most part, you want to maintain 10 to 15% of debt, but there are definitely credit cards where you can make purchases throughout the month. It positively impacts your credit score, and you can pay it off without being charged interest. And normally, people with good credit only can get those credit cards. So
Yes. You want to be a part of that. Was it Fly High Club, or So, or the black card, right? Because I have a black card. So what is the significance? And this is
So those type of cards are basically kind of like what I said before, when you have that super high credit score.
Swipe and no worries.
Yeah, nobody's questioning you. You go
put your black card down.
Yeah, most credit cards have limits. Like, you can't spend more than $5,000 a day. You can't black card. There are no limits.
No limitation.
Know what I'm saying? I've heard of people buying boats on black cards. You know what I'm saying? Houses, businesses. With a black card, you're basically at a point where you almost have an infinite limit. And obviously everyone's going to take it because they know that
it's a black
in
card.
order for you to have that card, you got something. You know what I'm saying? They're not giving that out to anybody. So that's really the power behind the black card. And I don't know if you guys ever held it. It's like 3 pounds, super heavy.
Really?
Yes, black card's no joke.
So is that what Apple's
That's
trying
true.
to do? Because Apple's cards are so expensive.
Maybe, I don't know. I got an Apple card. Maybe.
Apple got some weight on it too. I'm like,
Apple ain't giving me no checks either. So I don't.
All right. We're not gonna, we will not plug any company until they become sponsors, except for
Unless
Clads.
you guys are endorsing Clads.
Just
you know what I'm saying?
Clads. And a part of the footsteps to my vision is also about budgeting and being financially responsible. So this is really aligned with footsteps to my vision. All right. So what is a story that you can share without breaking any type of personal information, or that you were like, wow, if this person knew this would have been so much better?
I can share my own personal story. So, as an adult, I make much more than my mother did when I was a child, and she was, working. But till now, I've never had a credit score as good as hers. So I say that to say you don't have to have a lot of money to have a good credit score. You just have to, again, show that you are financially responsible. And once you establish that credit and you get to that elite level, you just have to maintain it. My mom till this day, whenever she does utilize credit, because it's not something that she relies on, she makes sure that she knows that she's able to pay it off. She gets a car loan. Her car loan could be for 36 months. She's paying it off in less than 2 years. She gets her mortgage. She makes sure she's making bi-weekly payments because it shows up as an additional payment and helps you pay it off faster. She's very financially responsible and lives within her means, which gives her the ability to live better than most, even though she doesn't have more money than most.
Isn't that an interesting story to share? I always say it's not what you make, is what you take home.
Exactly.
Right. So I've known a lot of people that make a lot of money, but their account doesn't reflect that. So that's really, really a good story to share.
No problem.
So what is one question that I have not asked you that you would have liked me to ask you?
I think you covered all the bases. Really, at the end of the day, when it comes to credit, it's having knowledge, right? So first of all the answers that I gave, I'm in no way, shape, or form the credit expert. I'm just sharing knowledge based off of my history in the field and, things that I've done working with credit. But knowledge is power. You know what I'm saying? That's what they don't want you to know.
Right.
Go check your credit. Check it periodically. Read things like the Fair Credit Act. Know what's going on. Read your statements. Your statements have information on it. They have to give you information on how to properly maintain your credit.
Yeah.
A lot of people don't read it.
I'm really bad at that. I think it's electronic. I know I log into the app.
There's a reason why they push that.
Yeah. It's paperless.
They don't want you to look at it. They don't because they have to give you the information. This is those acts and everything that you covered before. Those are the things that they cover, and the way they work around it is paperless. Oh, we'll lower your bill, or
$10 credit to your.
Yeah, they just don't want you to know what your capabilities are.
One tap
because
away.
Again, knowledge is power, and once you know, I'm not gonna say it's very easy, but it's a lot simpler than you think.
Wow. So now I know I need to go and look at my
statement.
My statement.
Just read, man.
Because
Don't go paperless.
I am paperless.
Pull it up online.
We're saving the environment here.
Benefits, but just pull it up online. Open up that PDF. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
Read
PDF.
it. Like the information's in front of us. We just gotta go after it. Go online. Go to those credit monitoring sites. They're going to tell you. But I will say this, don't believe everything they tell you, because they're also getting paid by a lot of these lenders. So they're pushing certain products and certain lenders to you because they're receiving residuals revenue from them. So again, take the information and then you kind of indulge in it. And
yeah, when you say that, I used to work at a retailer very shortly, because I was just there for a season. I was a seasonal employee, and I couldn't understand, retail is not for me in terms of working, just, shopping.
not for a lot of people.
But one of the things that they would do, they would give you incentives to sell their credit card to get people. So the more people that you signed up for a credit card, the bonuses were better. But the only problem was their commission structure was so ridiculous that you were not set up for success. You know what I mean? They would pay you back in their store cash, so you can go back in the store and shop. Yeah. This is the worst, however.
Money in house.
But you know what? I mean, it's a business, and at the end of the day, there's a bottom line that they have to make. So if you're looking at it from a business owner, aspect, then yes. But from an employee, where you're trying to make your bread to go home and feed your family, I was like, well, this is ridiculous. So I do understand when you say, you get incentive. They're set up where they're getting stuff on the back end. All right. So, Mr. Lyrics, do you have any end questions for Rodney?
I saw you taking a lot of notes throughout this whole production.
Oh man, I see that. I see this. The credit thing. If your credit score is over 800, you got an open gate.
Right. Well, it sounds like over 750.
Over 750 is going to be your comfort zone.
750 is safe.
750 is a
800,
comfort zone.
820, then you're elite. But again, just because you're there doesn't mean you take advantage of it. That doesn't mean, hey, I'm going to go out and apply for everything, because that's the quickest way to make that 800 drop back to the 600s,
Yeah,
500s.
but you know what? I don't see someone in the 800 going bananas.
Of course not.
Nah.
Because that's how they got to 800.
That's how you got to 800. Yeah.
And that's how you stay
That's
there.
how you stay there.
That's how you
I
stay
feel
there.
like they're responsible enough to to be where they are, to maintain where they are. The risks that they take are calculated risk. Everyone that I know that's in the 800, they take calculated risk, and they're somewhat not frugal, but they're careful in the decisions that they make. So I'm not in that league as yet, but maybe one day I'll get there.
Your credit score is your future, you know.
Yeah, well, you know,
Especially in this day
it's
and
interesting
age.
that you say that, you know, you say you take credit over cash, because I'm the opposite. So I'm learning, because I believe in cash.
Cash is king.
Cash is king, and I'd rather spend
That
cash
is
than
bullshit.
credit.
So cash
because
is king,
I
but
feel
you
like
gotta think about it this way:
it's
major purchases, right? Most people don't have $400,000 to go buy a home, right?
Right.
So here's why credit is valuable. I don't have $400,000 to go buy a home, so I have to go take out a loan.
Right.
My credit is going to determine how much I pay for this $400,000 home, because I'm taking out a loan. It's not going to cost me $400,000.
Right,
If I have good credit, it can possibly cost me $450,000. If I have bad credit, it could possibly cost me $600,000.
But don't you believe if you have the cash, you may not have the 400, but your deposit also plays an impact too?
So
That
let's
would
say
bring
this.
that 400 number
I'm
down.
going to close out with this example. We have a home for $400,000.
Right.
I only have $20,000 to put down as a down payment. But my credit score is excellent.
Right.
You have $100,000 to put down as a down payment.
Right.
Your credit score is fair, maybe a little bit below average. Now we're both approved for the loan because you have the
The down
cash
payment,
power,
right.
the down payment, to not have to qualify for the full amount. So let's just say I put down my $20,000. I need to finance $380,000. You put down your $100,000 and you're financing $300,000. With my excellent credit score, I get a excellent rate. Let's just say a stupid number. Let's say 2%, 15-year loan. My $380,000 over the course of that 15 years. Let's just say my total amount. I'm not doing the math, ladies and
Right.
gentlemen. Let's just say my total
Don't
amount.
hold him to the math. This is not a math program.
Let's just say
Well,
my
it is.
total payout on the home comes out to be $450,000.
Right.
Now you put $100,000 down. Your credit sucks. Your rate is
Not suck, but
all right.
decent.
Let's say decent, even
Right.
even
Yeah.
decent. And when I say suck, it's because that's what you really should generalize when it comes to credit. Either I'm good or either I'm great or I'm bad. So
So there's no second place.
exactly.
No.
So
Wow.
I had the good one. I had the great credit score, 2%. My $380,000 is going to ultimately cost me $450.
Right.
I put down $20,000. You put down $100,000. Your $300,000 loan and your 10% rate is going to cost you $500,000.
Well, but don't you think that going back, we can make that payment twice, and then also we can always pay towards the principal that would still bring us down when we're making those extra payments?
That's what you would hope for, right? And this is the dream
Hope.
that lenders sell you. Hey, whenever you go finance a car, yes, your rate is high today, but make 6 straight payments and then you can refinance your car. Yeah, here's reality, everyone. Something is going to happen. I told when I was in the debt
Life
management
happens.
business, and I'm talking to people about not using their credit cards and paying things down. They're like, no, I got a bonus coming or I got this coming. Something is gonna happen.
Life
Your car's gonna
happens.
break down. You God forbid, your house is gonna get on fire. You're gonna have a major expense. Something is gonna happen that's gonna take away from the money that you have. So you
Right.
cannot plan ahead for it because you don't know what's gonna take place. So yes, you're right. You can get extra money. You could hit the lotto.
Why not?
But you could not. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But you could not. I can tell you what's gonna happen.
Life.
Your kids are gonna need clothes.
Yeah.
Your car is gonna have an issue.
Life.
You're gonna need more groceries. Someone's gonna get sick. You're gonna have to go see them. Expenses are going to pop up. It always happens. You know what
Yeah.
I'm saying? There's no doubt about it. I don't care who you are. There's always an expense that you can't plan for that pops up out of nowhere.
No.
And these are the things that hurt you. And this is why I say credit is wealth, because at the end of the day, if I have good credit, when these, out of nowhere expenses come, the debt that I already have is not costing me as much as it would someone else. Because now when that out of expense come and you're still paying these high debts, this is where you get buried in debt.
Right.
And now you're suffering. This is why it's so difficult to get out of debt in the first place.
That's very good knowledge. Very,
Very
very,
good.
very good. I mean, interesting conversations. Because I'm learning. As I said, I definitely.
And we all are. Like I said,
Yeah.
there's no real science to this. You have to
Yeah.
just stay on top of it.
Yeah, we definitely have to stay on top of what your credit is. So really, really good. So I am going to You have any other questions, Mr. Lyric?
Nah, there's a lot of information tonight. That's study for the newcomers with credit, how to get a fresh start, especially with the young kids. You know,
Busy taking some notes, and I hope that everyone understands the importance of, using your credit responsible. That's the goal of this podcast. So, Rodney, thank you for sitting with us and taking some time to talk with Clads. Bye, guys.
Thanks for listening. Find us on social media at Clads Resources and online at www.cladsresources.com. Our planner, Footsteps to My Vision, is also located on our website or on Facebook, Instagram, or Amazon. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and share, and check back weekly for new episodes. Until next time, keep creating your footpath to your vision.